If you've been in the FNAF community long enough, you know that most people would consider FNAF 4 as the loud one. The jump scares, the breathing, the teeth, and that's fair, but it skips the part that actually makes it work. The game slows you down in a way that the others never did. You spend more time standing still than moving, not because the game forces you to, but because you're scared to commit to anything. Doors feel like decisions instead of just regular mechanics, and even turning around feels risky, which sounds ridiculous until you're actually playing it. And what's interesting is how little information the game gives you, and how confident it is about that choice. There's no tutorial voice telling you what's coming, there's no safety net, and you learn by dying. And the deaths don't just feel random, because after a while you realize that the game has been consistent the whole time. The rules were there and you just didn't trust yourself. That shift, when it finally clicks, changes how the fear works. You stop reacting and just start listening. Because the game stops feeling loud and starts feeling more tense. Because obviously the nightmare animatronics look exaggerated, almost cartoonish at first. There's too many teeth, they're too sharp, they're too obvious, but they don't move like monsters, they move like mistakes. They only show up when you do something slightly off, hesitate too long, check the wrong place first, and that's why people remember this game as punishing. But the thing is, it isn't, it's just strict, and there's a difference. And once you respect that difference, the nights stop feeling unfair and start feeling deliberate. Because the setting matters more than people admit. This isn't Freddy's. There's no public space. There's no workplace logic. It's a house that feels familiar at the same time it doesn't. The bedroom isn't detailed because it doesn't need to be. You already know what a bedroom is supposed to feel like at night, and the game leans on that instead of exposition. It trusts memory and feeling more than lore. And that's where the story starts to quietly creep in. The minigames don't exactly at first explain themselves. They don't frame anything. They drop in moments in front of you and leave. A kid who's scared, a brother who thinks he's funny, and parents who are never really there. You're not told how to feel about any of it, which is probably why people still argue about it. The game isn't interested in giving you closure. It's interested in showing you something and seeing if you sit with it. This approach, it's why FNAF 4 aged the way it did. People didn't, solve it and move on like they did with the other 3 games. No, they circled it. They came back years later, and they're still coming back with today. They were playing it with context that they didn't have before, and not because the answers changed, well, it sort of has, but we'll get into that later, but because the questions never stopped fitting. And the kid, the crying child, David, as we're calling him right now, is at the center of FNAF 4, and he isn't interesting because of what happens to him. He's interesting because of how little control he has over anything. He doesn't drive the story forward, he just absorbs it. He kind of is the story because everything just kind of lands on him. The bullying from his brother, the fear of Freddy's, the isolation from his father, and the game never gives him a moment where things turn around. There's no empowerment arc here. There's no point where he gets brave. He stays scared the entire time, and the game and the story and the minigames, they refuse to apologize for any of that. And what people usually miss is how passive that makes the horror. You're not watching a tragedy unfold from the outside. You're stuck inside the head of someone who doesn't have the language to explain what's happening to him. The animatronics don't feel like characters in this game. They feel like interpretation, nightmares, shaped by half-understood rumors, older brother jokes, and what he's overheard but never fully grasped. And that's why nothing in FNAF 4 lines up cleanly with the rest of the series, because it's not supposed to. Memory doesn't work that way. Michael is where the game starts to get uncomfortable in a different way, because he's not necessarily a villain in the grand, lore-heavy Williams sense. He's just cruel in the way kids are cruel when they don't think anything they're doing matters. The masks, the jump, the laughter, none of it feels planned, it feels habitual. Something he's done enough times that he stopped noticing the reaction, and that's what makes the bite hit as hard as it does. It's not some master plan got wrong, it's a joke that went too far because nobody cared or bothered enough to stop it. And the game doesn't let him off the hook either. That final line, I'm sorry, it isn't redemption. It's too late for that. It's recognition. He finally understands what he's been doing, but only once the consequences are unavoidable. FNAF 4 doesn't frame this as evil versus good. It frames it as damage and trauma. damage that doesn't undo itself just because someone feels bad. And the parents, William, his wife, they're barely present, and that absence does more work than any dialogue could. You never get a scene where they intervene. You never see them step in and draw a line. The house feels occupied but empty at the same time, which is a weird thing to pull off, but it fits. Adults exist somewhere off screen, technically in charge but never close enough to matter. For a kid like this, that's only worse than outright neglect. It means that there's no one to appeal to, no higher authority to fix things. No one to turn to and ask for help. And this is where the William Afton connection starts to feel less like lore trivia and more like context. Whether you read him as the father directly or as a looming presence tied to the house, the point is the same. This is a man whose work bleeds into his home life. The line between business and family is already gone before the story even starts. The kid grows up surrounded by animatronics, surrounded by mascots, and all the stories about the incidents and nobody ever thinks to shield him from that. Fear becomes normal because that's the environment he's grown to understand. And what FNAF 4 does better than any other game in the series is let all of this exist without explaining it. There's no speech about trauma. There's no confirmation scene spelling out motivations. The game shows you fragments and expects you to connect them emotionally, not logically. And that's why arguments about timelines don't really hurt it, because even if you're wrong about the order of events, the feeling stays intact. Playing through the nights after understanding this changes how everything feels. The bedroom stops being just a map. It feels like the only place the kid has left, and even that isn't safe anymore. The doors aren't barriers, they're just delays. They're temporary pauses before something inevitable happens. The closet doesn't feel like a mechanic. It feels like a thought you don't want to finish. You don't want anything to get in there. You don't even want to look at it. And then there's the ending. There's no spectacle, no boss. Just a room. Just darkness. You and this bear that's been following you for the entire game, and it's a promise that doesn't really promise anything. I will put you back together. Isn't comforting. It's vague in a way that borders on unsettling. You don't know who's speaking or what they mean by it, or whether it's even possible. The game cuts out before you can sit with it long enough to feel closure. Which brings us to the box. Now I know, we all know this box. We hate it. I know I shouldn't be touching it, but this is the thing that people have been arguing about for almost a whole decade. And what's important is that the game doesn't draw attention to it. There's no huge dramatic music. There's not a big camera boom push on it. It's just there. It's optional. It's easy to miss if you're not already trained to look for secrets. And once you see it, the game refuses to cooperate. No code, no condition, no final puzzle. Just a lid that won't open. The theories that make sense when you line them up, memories, souls, evidence, the truth of what really happened, some version of the story that, once revealed, would explain everything retroactively. All of those ideas fit the series as a whole, but none of them quite fit this game. Because FNAF 4 isn't about answers. It's about what happens when a kid is exposed to things he can't process, and the way those things follow him even after the moment has passed. If the box contains anything literal, it almost doesn't matter. What it represents is the part of the story that can't be clearly understood, the part that stays sealed because opening it would flatten the experience into a checklist of facts. The most plausible answer is that the box contains a secret Scott never revealed. It's that the box is the line. The point where the story stops being something you can fully explain and starts being something you can just live with. And once you open it, the mystery turns into information, and FNAF 4 doesn't want that. I don't think we want that. It wants discomfort, uncertainty, the feeling that something important happened and you weren't old enough, you weren't close enough, and you weren't ready enough to understand it. And honestly, that's why it still works. It's not because it's unsolved, but because solving it would miss the point entirely. And that's what the community has come across nowadays. It's what a lot of people are talking about, is whether or not the box should ever be open. Because think about it. Put yourself in David's shoes. You're a kid. You found this hidden box. You've overcome all this trauma. You finally defeated what would be your greatest nightmares. You've become brave, and you're face to face with this. Your father's secret. He's out doing who God knows what. Your brother's out there mourning for you, but you in your memories, remember this box. And you've seen it. Think about it. If we really want to think about this in a literal way, and this really is the dream theory of all of it, is you're in a coma. He's seen this in a dream. Maybe he's seen it. He snuck off and saw what's inside. And maybe it's just so bad, it's so traumatic that he can't bear to think about it. He can't bear to see it. And that's the thing, we can't. We're putting ourselves in his shoes. We're not a night guard. We're not William. We're not Michael. We're not looking for our father. We are a kid that is being tortured by the memories and remnants of their father and of their family and of this god-awful community. And what does he have to show for it? Nightmares, bad memories, trauma. His own brother, he put him in the hospital, and he is unable to wake up. He has empty promises from his father, from his brother, from who knows who else. And the only thing you remember is this box that was in his father's study that should be kept a secret for now, because as always, when you deal with trauma, you can't do it right away. It's going to take time. So for now, probably forever, like Scott said, the content of the box changed because the game and everybody else has changed because trauma changes people. And you change based on your experiences. And your memory starts to fade. You get a little muddled. You start losing. Wait, remember, you can't remember things. So what if what's in the box isn't going to make sense because you can't remember what it is? And so you're afraid to open it because you might remember. It's like a Schrodinger. It's like Schrodinger's cat. You can open it and you can know exactly what it is, or you open it and you can't remember, and that's going to fill you with even more dread because why can't you remember? And that's my take on this. FNAF 4 has been my favorite game ever since it came out. Ever since I was a kid, I loved it. It terrified me, but I love Nightmare Foxy's design. He's been one of my favorite animatronics forever. I've been ride or die for this game. Even as 19, I want to piss myself with how scary this game is. Scott did an amazing thing with design and all that stuff. I know it's the start of the new year. This would be probably hopefully if I can get this out, it'll be the first video of the new year. It's like a Halloween scary episode. But I feel like that going into the new year with this theory, with everyone trying to get to the box, I really hope that this reaches out. This hits someone reaches it and can look at it, because I'm probably saying stuff that people are already saying. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate, or because, you don't understand. But this is what I think. And this is, as someone who's grown up with the lore and tried to piece it together myself, this is the most that I can come up with, because I feel like FNAF 4 is the most integral part of this entire story, and no one thinks to just remember that you're a kid. But take your theories hat off. Put yourself in his shoes. You're a kid. You got hurt. You are most likely dead. You're in a coma. You lost everybody. The last thing you want to do is open a box full of memories, full of torture, full of trauma. Anyways, my name is Two Bros One Game. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Join the new Discord server. We're doing a January 1st, a whole new revamp, and support me anywhere. I have a Twitter if you want to go look at it. I don't really post there much, but if you like this video, subscribe and text. Put in the comments. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if I'm a fucking idiot and I'm just spouting out of my ass here. But thank you all. I know I say it a lot, but thank you for an amazing year, and I couldn't have gone where I am. I'm so close to 500, and I'm not going to ask for you guys to just obviously sub and all that stuff, but I'm so close to 500, and it would mean a lot to hit 500 before the end of the new year, or before the end of January. Anyways, thank you so much, and I hope you all have a fantastic day and a great 2026. Goodbye.